Doing something to protect yourself is better than doing nothing. Welcome to today's active self-protection lesson. I'm your host, John Correa. Today's video is actually two separate incidents, one out of Las Vegas, Nevada, and one out of South Carolina, both in the United States. There are live fire training tools and dry fire training tools. Mantis X is the only one that does both. It will change the way you shoot for the better. It has helped me immensely. All right, first one out of Vegas. This guy is just kind of moseying into his house, 1:30 in the morning. You can see that there, a little cool in the desert in December, so he's got a beanie on. He looks up and dude is pointing a gun at him and demanding his wallet. Guy is actually gonna swat the gun away, which makes the bad guy try to chamber it, and he's just gonna walk off and ignore the dude. Now this next one, again, if you're watching, this guy I think is an Uber driver, and you're gonna see him just kind of mosey through. He's just getting from A to B when all of a sudden he's gonna come around the corner and come upon some crazy. We actually have a little bit of audio to hear on this one. Let's hear how the encounter goes. Well, that's scary. He just decides at this point to start bumping him with the bumper, and guy's not having it, trying to push his car back. But eventually, dude's going to figure out that's the wrong way to go. Our victim is going to floor it and get the heck out of the danger zone. And that is where this one ends. I guess at the end of things, they both worked, but we got to think about some lessons here. Get better this year with your defensive firearms and your empty-handed skills and your emotional and spiritual fitness by joining us at the Aspen National Conference, September 27, 28, 29 at Tallgrass Shooting Sports in Manhattan, Kansas. Link in the description with all kinds of information. It's all for a good cause. Out of today's video, I want to think about getting out of the danger zone when that's possible. I also want to think about emotional fitness and staying present in the moment. And then I want to think about suboptimal actions versus taking the best choice to protect yourself in the moment. So guys coming home late at night, whatever, paying attention is a critical skill. Attention buys you time, time buys you options, and we see him looking up here, but doing something about it incredibly critical. So the guy's popped up, and Guy is certainly pointing a gun at him at this point before we can see him on camera. What are you going to do at this point? Well, guys, you got to recognize that paying attention earlier might have prevented this all the way through, but sometimes these things are unavoidable, so you got to have a plan in place in order to act. Now, our guy here doesn't look like much of a self-defender, but dude's going to come up and put a gun in his face, and he's just going to kind of swat at that gun with his hand. That is a suboptimal plan, friends. If you're going to go with the guy, if you're going to try to resist him, don't play patty cake. The only reason this guy didn't get shot is because this guy's not a murderer. If you're going to try to keep that muzzle off of you, it's time for the 5Ds plus 1. It's time to control distance and then deflect, dominate, distract, disarm, and disable. It's not time to paw at the gun because you're trying to see, oh, is this guy really for real? Thankfully, in this instance, he wasn't, but if he was, you would have had nothing but a bullet hole in you to show for it. So go for it if you can. Now, notice how fast our bad guy's able to get his gun back on target. This is why I say, don't just paw at guns, because it just distracted him for just a second. It might buy you a half second, but probably no more than that, which is why it is a terrible idea. Now, if you're going to defend yourself, just go. And now this guy decides instead he's just going to kind of mosey out of the danger zone. And again, the only thing that kept him from being hurt here is that this guy's not a killer. Now, thankfully, that makes him just a resource predator. He's trying to get the guy's money or whatever, and that's all well and good, but I would never trust my safety to the hands of a violent felon. Somebody's willing to point a gun at you. Now, I might bet that that gun probably wasn't real, certainly wasn't loaded at that point. That's all well and good, but you can't tell those things in the moment. So if you're going to be a self-defender, be a competent self-defender, not a lucky one, but sometimes luck's enough. Now, our other one that's a driving situation here. Okay, fine. Dude's out late at night. Again, he's Ubering, whatever. He's a professional driver here. That's great, but be aware of what's coming in your world and take appropriate follow-up actions. Now, dude's going to come across some crazy, and you can't always prevent that. This dude here all of a sudden, now if we remember the original, he honks his horn at the guy. This was a punitive action. Again, your horn is designed to be protective. Let other people know where you're at. Not designed to be punitive and tell other people that they're stupid. And that's how he used it here. And I don't recommend that. And the reason I don't recommend it is that it inflames problems. It causes road rage. It gets guys angry. Far better here, hit the brakes, put it in reverse, get some space between you and this guy. Instead of letting him bang on your hood and making things worse. Use your vehicle. You've got this vehicle, which is the best self-defense tool that you probably have in your arsenal, and instead of letting that guy bang on your hood, get the heck out of there. Now, instead, our good guy decides to go forward on him. This is dangerous because that guy loses his footing, goes under your wheels, and now you've got all kinds of problems with the law. Now you got all kinds of stuff. Now you might be able to defend it. You might be able to say, hey, this guy scared me. I was just trying to get out of the way. I went slow, whatever, but you're still gonna have to explain all that and pay a lawyer hundreds of dollars an hour to try to concoct a story and to help you tell that story to the district attorney to not get charged and to the jury. So far better to put that vehicle in reverse and get the heck out of there that way. Of course, we can't see behind him, so he might have had somebody behind him. I don't think so on these deserted roads though. But I do commend him for at least giving the guy some opportunity and not flooring it and running him over, but kind of pushing until the guy got off to the side enough, and then as soon as it was safe, he hit the gas and used his vehicle effectively. So let's think about suboptimal answers here and try for optimal answers. Let's think about making sure that we recognize that the danger of the rules of stupid, particularly being late at night. Let's do the right things to cover our asp.